Hey Shaw, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing really good, buddy. What about you?
Great, great. What did you want to debate about?
Okay. So as you said, I'm sure you don't have enough time, and nor do I, but I saw something really interesting in your hot takes that I really wanted to kind of get your point of view on it. Maybe
Hmm.
you'll help me understand my outlook as well.
Sure thing.
So the hot take that I found very interesting was that women are as good leaders as men.
Yes.
Okay. So I would like to bring up a few points, and I want to see what you think about that.
Sure.
So, okay. First, look at historical precedent, right? Throughout much of recorded history, leadership positions in politics, business, and other domains have predominantly been held by men. This isn't just a coincidence. It's indicative of a natural inclination or perhaps even a superior ability among men to lead, right? Because we can see countless examples of male rulers, generals, and business leaders who have shaped our world. And yeah, I would be interested to know how you would tackle that.
Sure. So, would you say that are men? Would you say that men are more aggressive than women?
Yeah, I would say certainly yes.
And is aggressiveness a positive thing for being a leader?
At certain instances, I believe yes, you need to
Yeah.
be
Does it
aggressive
cause you to
or
be
you
a?
need to.
Does it cause
I'm
someone
sorry.
to be a leader? Can it cause? Can a person who is aggressive
Yeah,
cause them to get into a position where they are a leader?
no, but it can
Really?
certainly wait. I'm not sure I understand what you mean as
So
the question.
if somebody is like a go-getter, aka they are more aggressive, the
Yeah.
probability of them getting into a leadership position is higher. There's also the fact that men tend to be taller, which usually in there's like studies that show that taller people tend to get in higher up positions simply because people look up to them.
Okay. Okay. I
So
don't.
now,
What's your point here?
yeah, so then my next question is, do you think that it's possible that is it also true that uh, men tend to hang out with other men and women tend to hang out with other women?
Yeah, I would certainly say so. It's more common than not.
Yes. Okay. So if a bunch of men are in leadership positions, what's the probability they keep hiring men? Higher, right?
Higher, of course.
Okay. So do you think it's possible for a leader to be effective if they say we're more empathetic?
Are you saying if a leader would be more effective if they were more empathetic?
Mm-hmm.
For example,
Understanding the needs of the
yeah,
people.
certainly yes.
Okay. Are women more empathetic than men?
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
Yeah, they are.
So they could be just as good leaders as men, just in different ways.
Okay, but when I came here, right, I wanted to understand that on a very greater extent, how has it been in a historical precedent whenever something that has been of a great extent, how the leaders of those have always been men? Because
I've
okay,
explained how,
what
and
you no
you've
no
you've agreed with every position.
I'll explain to you. Okay, what you're saying is that women can be great, can be leaders as well. Essentially, my question is, can they be greater than men when it
Uh,
comes to being a leader?
well, no. So I said they could be just as good of a leader.
Yeah, that's my question. How can you say that when I have told you that throughout historical precedent, whenever something has been on a greater scale, it's always been a it's always been a men who is a leader. I can understand that you're saying that women
Yes,
can be
and you've
empathetic,
acknowledged every
right?
single reason as to
No,
why that's the
I'm
case.
okay. So you're saying a woman with her empatheticness, okay, can be a great leader. But I want to understand leader of what? What can that lead to that would allow us humans to progress further than as
Well, they could
compared
be
to
a
someone who's
politician, they could be a CEO, a leader,
okay, but you can understand my
coach.
point that I brought up in the start, right? That how has it
Yeah,
been in the
yeah, and
historical
you've acknowledged exactly why that's in fact the case. Men tend to be more aggressive. Men tend to hang out with other men. Men also tend to be taller. So yes, they tend to get more leadership positions. But every single one of these positions doesn't necessarily make somebody a better leader. In fact, the very fact that aggressiveness is what gets somebody to be a leader is not actually vindicative of being a better leader. It just means you're kind of more of an asshole.
Okay, listen. I'm gonna add one more point to this. Okay, you said that women have more, like they are more, what's called empathetic, right? So that itself, don't you think it can have some downsides as well? For example, let's say you run a business, right? There is an employee that you have, and you know that that employee is going through some rough conditions right now. But the performance of the employee inside the company itself has been very awful. Now, because you're a woman and you have a higher amount of empathy, you would hesitate to let that employee go, even though you can hire someone else in the place of that person who can possibly do a way better job, right?
Huh? This doesn't
I'm
show
saying,
me that women would be any worse as a leader. In fact, there's a strong possibility that women could actually be better in the sense that they are more empathetic.
okay, they are empathetic, but the point of the business is to make profit, right?
Correct?
It's not to give away charity.
Do
So
you
why
think
would you
morale
want
has
to?
anything to do with the profit of a company?
Of course.
Okay. So do you think having empathy towards your employees could generate a greater profit?
Okay, but I am explaining one instance of mine, right? Which I want you to answer. And that is, if you are running a business, right? There's an employee that has poor performance, but you understand that that person is going through some hard times. If you let go of them, it's going to be really hard for them. But just because you're so empathetic, you're not willing to let go, even though it's harming your business, right? But that's the point of being a good leader. You have to take hard decisions, no?
Sure. But again, like you can have empathy and make hard decisions. Are you saying women can't make hard decisions because they're empathetic?
Yeah. Yeah. Hello? Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's just you said something so insane that anybody can hear the deafening silence as a result
No,
of the ridiculous thing you've just
I
said.
don't understand one thing, right? Why are you
There's
so
nothing
hostile
inherent.
against me?
There's nothing
No, you're
inherent
so
about.
hostile against
There
me. If
is
I'm gonna come here,
nothing
you have a
inherent.
platform to
There is
speak, right?
nothing
I'm
inherent
speaking
about
to
a
you
woman's
respectfully.
incapability to being able to be a
Okay,
leader.
explain it to me, right?
I did.
Okay, explain it to me. If I'm saying anything, you can tell me that you're wrong. I can see that you're being
Okay, you said
incredibly
that there's something
passive aggressive.
inherent to their
You don't sound like
inability to be able to lead. You said that there's something inherent about that they are incapable of leading. However, there's plenty of
yes.
women that are leaders that can, in fact, lead effectively and would run circles around you and I.
Okay. Exceptions do not disapprove the rule, right?
You've already acknowledged why it is the reason that there are men in leadership positions, none of which have to do with being a better leader.
Okay, you brought up the point of being empathetic, right? I told you being empathetic in itself can lead to harmful things as well for any kind of organization it is,
Okay, and you
right?
said that there was something inherent about that, but there isn't. You can be
So-
empathetic and still make hard decisions. And you're saying, no, that's not possible because they're a woman. That's an extremely sexist thing to say. That's why I was completely silent and flabbergasted at your statement.
Okay, so you do understand. You mentioned this in your hot take, right? You can understand that this itself will bring some amount of sexism that you think it is, right? Then it should not really be in your hot takes if you're not willing to have a conversation about it. Right?
I'm
Because
having a
I'm not coming
conversation with
benefit.
you right now. Stop with the meta.
You just called me a sexist.
It is a sexist. No, I said it's a sexist thing to say.
Yeah, so you're not just trying to call me a sexist. You're just saying that I'm saying
It's a
sexist.
sexist take. Yes, it is a sexist take.
Okay. Well, I'm going to move on to my second point. And I'd really like to know what you think about it, okay?
Okay.
Because really, listen, I come here with an open mind, and if you have something to give to me, I will ask you questions, but I will accept it, all right? Because I'm trying to learn as well.
All right.
Okay.
Go for it.
All right. So the second point is that do you agree that men display more risk-taking behavior?
Yes.
Okay, so this propensity for risk-taking can be advantageous for leaders that take bold decision-making, and
Or
it leads
not.
to innovations, right?
Or not.
Like because look, fields like business and politics are high stakes. You know, they often
Yeah,
demand
I understand
leaders
that,
who aren't
but
afraid to take
sometimes
risks,
playing
right?
the cautious battle is also smart.
Okay, but how do we progress? Do we progress by being cautious or being a risk taker?
Sometimes it depends on the situation.
Sometimes
Is war a good thing?
Look, your
Is
statement
war a
in the
good
hot-
thing?
No.
Okay. Do you think that somebody being aggressive could, being more aggressive, do you think that that increases the probability of war?
Wait, what?
Do you think it increases the probability of war if the leaders who make the decisions are more aggressive?
Yeah.
Okay, that would be a bad leadership take.
Okay, but it also allows us to go to certain extents to progress as a society, you know? How do we have electricity? Let's say.
How do we have electricity?
Yeah.
Do
you think
a lot
it
of
took
areas,
someone...
my area specifically
Okay.
uses natural gas.
I
don't know
okay, I just
exactly if
gave-
they're like digging it up or if they're shipping it in. Anyway, one way or another, they basically burn the natural gas to then allow a turbine to spin, and then like electricity goes up in my house. There you go.
Okay.
That's how we get it.
So my point being is that the reason we have electricity is because a certain someone had these risk-taking, you know, personalities that led to this. Now, you said that sometimes being cautious can also be good. So I want you to give me an example. Where was a leader conscious that led to something that big on a scale, right? That
Well, I think like, for
really
example,
allowed-
I don't think that we would have, if there was a woman leader, I don't think we would have gone to war with the terrorists as a result of 9/11. I think they would have looked at it more logically.
Okay, fair enough. But would have we progressed as
Huh?
a nation?
Yeah, we wouldn't have gone to war in the Middle East and then sunk trillions of dollars into a freaking hole in the Middle East.
Okay, that's just the war side perspective, right? I'm talking about innovations.
Are you saying women, like, do you need me to bring up women innovators? Are you serious? Like, I know
Okay,
that there was like
even if you
one
bring
for
them
like
up.
nuclear engineering. There was one for
Okay.
like
You
what
can
are you
bring
what
up
is
exceptions.
happening?
It's fine. No, you can bring up exceptions. It's fine,
Exceptions?
right? I can.
What are you talking about?
Now, what is the ratio of those women
Women
as
is
compared
half
to
of our
men?
workforce. Are you out of your mind? The exception?
Bro, you're just not open to have a conversation. That's what's up.
No. I'm saying the things that you are saying are so upsetting. They're
Because
so
you
wrong
are
and
calling
so
because
upsetting.
they're sexist, right?
Yes.
Okay, so if you have something in your hot takes, it's called that women are as good leaders as men, what were you expecting? If someone is gonna have an argument with you, what would that person say?
Well, provide
Things
a
that
cogent argument and not say that there's something inherent about women that doesn't even show in any level of inherency. And then when I bring up instances of women being better than men in particular instances, for whatever reason, you're saying, well, that, fuck that. I don't care about that argument. I just want to hear about how women are inferior. And then you point out how women are inferior here.
No, like for example, at the end, you told me that okay, I can bring up this woman that has done this nuclear thing, whatever it is, right? Let me ask you, what is the ratio of women who have been in leadership roles, have done certain things as compared to men, right?
Well, generally it's men. Can I ask you how many, let's try this. How many men got us into war?
Certainly a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Does that mean men aren't good leaders?
Men are good leaders, I would say, but yes, they have certain things that work against them, like you pointed out, like wars. But still, okay. So basically, let me try to say it like this, right? Okay, women have certain qualities, and with those qualities, they can be certain leaders. But I'm saying on a big scale, in order for us to, achieve something groundbreaking, right? I would say in that case, men would do certainly better because of the things which I just
You're
said.
arguing as if women have never done anything groundbreaking. There's lots and lots of women that have contributed a lot more than you and I.
Okay, they
And no,
certainly
that's
have,
not
but
the
the argument is
exception.
that the
They're
men have done
half
more.
of the entire workforce in the United States.
But we're not talking about workforce. Are you saying all the
There
workforce
are
is leaders?
innovators
We're
in
talking
the
about
workforce.
leaders.
There are innovators in the workforce.
Okay. Now compare the stat of women innovation with the men innovation, let's say.
What?
You're saying that they're innovating the workforce, right? I'm saying how does it, fare in the comparison of things that men have innovated, right?
Yeah. Can I ask you this?
It's certainly a higher number, isn't it?
Let me ask you this. Who do you think who invented, let's say, the X-ray?
I don't know.
Was it a man?
Maybe it was a woman.
It was a
by
woman.
the way you're saying it.
Yeah, it was a woman.
That's great.
Her
That's
name was
great.
Mary Curie, right? Her best known discoveries in radioactivity. Her work laid the foundation of the development of X-ray machines.
Yeah. Okay. So you're trying to do is you're just bringing up exceptions.
What about the basis of modern Bluetooth and Wi-Fi? Do you think that was a man? Did a man do that one?
Look, I am not denying the fact
that was a
that
woman,
women have
Hedy
not
Lamarr,
brought any innovations.
Right? Actress and inventor Lamarr co-invented an early form of the spread spectrum communication technology, which is exactly what Bluetooth and Wi-Fi run off of.
Okay.
But she's probably the exception, right? Let's do another one.
Okay.
Gracie
No,
Hopper,
wait,
computer scientist and U.S. Navy Rear Admiral Hopper, and developed the first compiler for computer programming language and was instrumental in the development of COBOL, one of the earliest high-level programming languages. Is that the exception, though?
Okay. You're not understanding my point. Okay. Maybe I'm not able to say it right, but I'm not saying that women have not innovated things. I'm not saying they haven't helped us bring out things that are groundbreaking, but I'm saying that their innovations fall pale in comparison with the one of men. Can you understand what I'm saying?
Do you think?
Are you saying it's not true?
Do you think that it's possible? No, it's not. And the reason why it's not is because typically throughout history, do you think that it's possible that women were excluded from society?
And why do you think it's that?
Because they're women.
Okay.
There was a religious implication behind it. They ought to have been homemakers. Not only that, there was problems regarding reproductive health. Specifically, they would constantly have babies because they're the ones making babies. And so the end result is that they often didn't go into professional fields, which allowed them to have as much influence as men in terms of like inventions. But you understand that I am arguing this under the basis of like things that were really not preventable back then, but are completely preventable now with contraceptives, as well as the ability of women to be able to enter into the workforce and to be able to get as much education. There's currently more women who have college degrees than there are men. Women also consistently have a higher IQ than that of men. Also, men tend to be much more violent. Well, I mean, you're talking about all these inherencies, and now I'm suddenly reversing all of that onto men.
Okay. So let's say whatever happened in the past where women were not really allowed to get into these positions, right? Now, speaking of the current world, right?
I need you to address my point.
Okay. I'm not sure what you meant exactly. Can you just give me a small gist of it?
Men tend to be more aggressive.
Yeah.
Men also have kept women down for a very long time.
Yeah.
Women now have access to be able to take care of their own reproductive health. Women also are known to have higher IQs than that of men. They're also known to live longer. They're also known to be more empathetic. They're also known to commit less violent crimes. They commit less rape. They do all of these things, and they invent things just as good as you and I. And there actually shows no instance where men are superior in terms of their brain functionality, albeit one single situation, which is, I believe, 3D rotational perspective. Yeah, no one ever points out superiority of men being able to understand 3D rotational perspective over that of women. So I'm now putting it out onto men, right? I can show you that this is in fact the case. Every single statement that I've made, I can provide you a study that shows that this is in fact the case. So do you think that men shouldn't be leaders under that basis?
No, of course.
Why?
Look,
why? They do things worse than women.
Because what it takes to be a leader, there are certain qualities that men have way better. And I was explaining to you.
Yeah, and empathy is not one of them. They're more aggressive and they cause more war.
Okay, empathy but is it as great as being a risk taker?
But you came in here saying that women, they're not good at their leadership positions. It's not anywhere close. But here I am showing you that this is in fact the case, that men tend to be this way. Women also tend to be smarter. Look, so what is this?
Look, you just made a point right now that it's about empathy, right? Now I'm saying I believe that someone with the characteristic of being a risk taker can be a greater leader than someone
as opposed to
with empathy.
Cautionary. And also, just so you know, women can also be risk takers. Aggressiveness doesn't necessarily indicate that you're a risk taker over not. That's not, you don't know that. It depends on the woman. It depends on the man. The point that I'm trying to make is women can be just as good leaders as men. Right? And this idea that there's some inherency of like men being leaders is this really old, archaic atavism that isn't akin to reality. We now are aware of the science, and we're aware of we are aware of how the brains and the differences of men and women are. It is true that women tend to be physically weaker, but that doesn't mean women can't be leaders. It's completely ridiculous. The only thing that is left is your tribal atavism.
Okay, so you're saying that a certain woman, right, is extremely strong mentally. She possesses quality that a normal female would not, right? And just because of that,
I have no idea what you think. You think that women can't be aggressive ever? I'm saying that there's a generality, and no, it's not uncommon that a woman can't be aggressive. Of course. Have you ever had a girlfriend before in your life?
They can be fucking aggressive.
Okay,
but
so
are
then
you
what's
saying
your
they're
argument?
more like aggressive than men? Are you saying they're more like aggressive?
Are women better
than men?
leaders than men? Can they be better leaders than men?
Of course they can be, but
Okay, they can be better leaders.
What
Okay,
is
so
in general?
so is it fair to say that women can be just as good leaders as men?
it really depends on what you're asking.
Really,
Are
it
you
doesn't
asking
because this logically follows.
Okay, so if you're saying that, okay, let's say that there's a woman
Answer
who
the
checks out
question.
every single. I'm going to answer it. So
Can
if
women be
there's a
just as good
woman-
leaders as men?
Okay, can you let me answer it?
Give me the yes or no, and then give me your caveat.
Okay,
Can women
No.
be just as good leaders as men?
no.
No, except you're able to
explain it to you.
apply exceptions
I'll
to the
explain
norm,
to you what.
and you also
I'll
just
explain to you what.
contradicted yourself.
I'll explain to you what.
Bro,
Why I said
you
that?
need
Because
to
you said
think
that
your
No,
logic
it's just
through fully.
you
I
are
don't think
just
you are capable
frustrated.
of
You just
understanding. No,
you just don't
the
sound
thing
like
is
you want to have an open
actually
dialogue with anybody.
contradicted yourself.
Because I was just
So,
being
at this
respectful the
point,
whole time.
It is
and obviously you have
9:45,
some personal
and so
bias against
I'm
it,
gonna move you
and
back
you don't
down.
want to speak.
But it was good talking to you, buddy. Anyway, wow, holy crap. So did you guys enjoy the Sexist? I enjoyed the Sexist. You guys will